Buddhism, a way of life or religion based on ideas by the Buddha, and one that I personally follow. However, unfortunately, it's often misrepresented. And here, I would like to shed some light on a very common myth that is very wrong: the idea that there is no self. This misrepresentation is harmful enough that it can cause someone to deviate from the right way, the very cornerstone of this way of life. Let's talk about the notion of no self. The idea is that the so called self is just an illusion. This idea claims that any sense of self never existed and is just a fabrication driven by ignorance and craving. This idea is incredibly popular due to some reason. It's very commonly thought that the Buddha taught that there is no self. Although I don't know the reason why, I can guess that it's because of the romanticism with the thought. The notion of no self does have a foreign and interesting appeal, although it could simply be because someone popular and thought of as authoritative claims so. Regardless, the reason is largely unimportant compared to its truth and consequences. This notion of no self is just plain wrong. In the Nikayas or discourses, Buddha has never said that there is no self. Whenever a question about self arises, Buddha has either observed noble silence or answered in a way to steer away from self, no self, and even both self and no self, or none. It is said that the notions of self, no self, both, or none are not conducive to the right path and Nibbana. In fact, getting stuck in any of those can hamper the progress. So, it's wrong as it's false and harmful to claim that there is no self as per the teachings of the Buddha. A better way to think about it would be that the right way and the Buddha is unbounded by any notions of self or no self. Think about it. If one claims that Nibbana ends up in removal of self entirely, then isn't it still bounded on self? Negation of self, yes, but still you're defining Nibbana by it. Note though, I'm not saying that there is a self. That's also wrong to say. Do remember that Buddha chose silence or answered to steer away from self, no self, both, or neither. In the same way, it's wrong to say that a Buddha lacks self. It's also wrong to claim that they do have self either. Remember the better way to think about it? That the right way and Nibbana is unbounded by those notions. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to go about it. Although this simply is not remarked by the Buddha in the same manner, I do think that it can shed some light on our issue. When a fire gets extinguished, to which direction did it go? To the east, the west, the north, or the south? If it's still confusing, don't worry about it. For now, just follow the right path and meditate. It's relatively better to think that the path is unbounded by it. In the spirit of Buddhism, the notion of self or no self and thinking about them is not conducive to Nibbana, the only thing a bhikkhu or an aspirant should be focusing on. And hopefully, when you go towards it, you would come to understand more and realize the futility and how these notions are fetters and binding. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that it empowered you to have a better and more wholesome life. If you liked the video or it helped you, please do like, subscribe and share. It will connect the video with more people. If you have any comments or suggestions, For future video recommendation, let me know in the comments down below.